You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Today, Fort Scott firefighters rescue a woman and child from a burning apartment building.
Two things in play. Number one, warm, record-setting temperatures, and number two, an expansion on the severe thunderstorm risk map. We'll have all the latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
Also, we'll introduce you to a Joplin man who's cleaning up his neighborhood. His name is Larry Ross, but he goes by the Litter Getter. All that and more coming up.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
Thanks for joining us for the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. The Newton County prosecutor files murder charges against a man accused in a shooting death. The prosecutor charged Cameron Stotts with first-degree murder and armed criminal action. Investigators say Stotts shot and killed Alexis Guajardo Perez on November 9th. You can read more about the crime on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. A woman and child who were trapped in a fire in this Fort Scott apartment building are safe after a rescue. The fire broke out Tuesday morning in a second-story unit at the Highland Apartments on Shepherd Street. Firefighters managed to get the woman and child out through a bedroom window. Crews evacuated the entire building and contained the fire to the one unit. No injuries were reported. The fire department tells us the Red Cross is helping people who were displaced. Crowder College in Neosho has a new president. On Tuesday, the college made the announcement on Facebook. Dr. Katricia Pearson will take on the role January 13th. Dr. Pearson is currently the president of East Central University in Ada, Oklahoma. The current Crowder president, Dr. Glenn Coltharp, will stay on as an advisor until his retirement on June 30th. Oklahoma tribal leaders say Governor Kevin Stitt's decision to not renew hunting and fishing license compacts with the Cherokee and Choctaw Nations is part of an ongoing dispute. The tribes and governor have been at odds over issues including a U.S. Supreme Court ruling regarding criminal jurisdiction and casino compacts. 2016 licensing compacts provided hunting and fishing licenses to the Cherokee and Choctaw Nations at little or no cost to the tribal citizens. A Stitt spokesperson said Stitt believes all Oklahomans should be treated equally. And a Joplin organization that helps young people reestablish themselves has a new facility to better serve. Loving Grace cut the ribbon on that facility Tuesday. It's called Doris House. It's a maternity home for young women ages 17 to 24 who are pregnant or parenting a child under the age of 1.
Well, it's kind of a dream of mine long ago. I always said if we could save one child, that's all it was worth. And so we've saved many. We have lost some. That's just the way that goes.
Loving Grace is at 1414 Euclid Avenue in Joplin. On Tuesday, Watered Gardens gave out some cash after its annual Empty Bowls fundraiser event. The event connected local artists with local food makers. The artists created bowls. The cooks filled them up with soup. Folks like you purchased the bowls and the soup, all while helping local charities. 20 restaurants took part, donating 5 gallons of soup for the event.
Well, some studies will say that to provide a meal for somebody is going to cost an organization about $2. So if you think about that, then the incredibly generous community that we live in, by raising over $28,000, is saying, hey, here are 14,000 meals for those in our community who are struggling.
More than 1,000 bowls and 500 bowl koozies were sold, benefiting Mission Joplin, We Care of the Four States, Watered Gardens, and Hope Kitchen. Fox 14's 18th annual Feed the Four States food drive is underway. We're collecting non-perishable food items for area food pantries like Crosslines and the Wesley House during the season of high demand. You can also make a monetary donation online, KOAMnewsnow.com/feed, or during our Feed the Four States telethon today, right here on the news at 9. The food drive will continue through December 31st. The 2020 bushfires that devastated the northeast of Victoria, Australia didn't just burn trees. Thousands of beehives were also destroyed, which more than halved the production of honey. But recovery is on the horizon, and amateur beekeepers are helping replenish the stock of bees. For example, John Watson's colorful beehives are everywhere in the backyard of his Wodonga house. The Upper Murray region saw more than 430,000 hectares of land go up in flames as the 2020 Black Summer bushfires, and the bee population is still recovering now. John Watson is kept busy with all his beehives while helping restock the region with bees, and he invites anyone interested to follow in his footsteps, helping the environment from his backyard. Michael, a little nervous there around those bees.
Yeah, I realize the importance to the environment, and the importance of bees, honeybees, is not lost on me. But once again, it's got wings and a stinger. And
He's just picking them up barehanded, too.
Oh, I have the utmost respect
Yeah.
for beekeepers as well, and the jobs that they do, because you could, like, I'd faint, folks. Like, whoa! That'd be me in a beekeeper outfit as soon as I got close to one of them. Oh, but God bless him for taking care of them. I mean, that's amazing. Look at how many he must have in there. Okay, I'm good. Palm's still sweaty. Mostly cloudy skies to begin our Wednesday, but it's already warm. Joplin, Carthage. Carthage is our new member of the 70-degree club. Throw Welch and Veneta in there. Unofficially, we've already set a record in Chanute where it got up to 70. Even 69 would be a record. The old record for December 15th is 68 degrees, so we've even eclipsed that. Now, it is windy. It's blustery as all get out, even windier really than yesterday, anywhere from 15 to 25 miles per hour. And once again, it's impressive as far as the geographic scope of the wind warnings, watches, advisories, really stretching from the West Coast all the way to the Great Lakes. And we've seen an expansion for us as well. Wind advisories now encompassing southwest Missouri and northeast Oklahoma all the way until midnight. And the lighter orange right there, that is a high wind warning. So in some form or fashion, you're going to run into it today. Give you an idea of the Skywatch storm tracker. We picked up just very light rain overnight into early this morning. Didn't amount to anything, just trace amounts. And so far, been on the clear side. What we're going to pay attention to here, that's a low pressure system that's moving out of the Four Corner area. And this thing's going to follow the jet stream. And we're going to target this area right here, mainly through a majority of Iowa. Now, we're going to get some fallout of it, and it'll start with just light rain, and that's actually Gulf moisture. It doesn't have a whole lot to do with that thunderstorm activity. But what we'll see is the development of that system that's going to move up, really has moved over the Rockies right now. And the hardest hit area is going to be the upper central plains. But it's our little offshoot of it, and kind of stalls out right there in central Oklahoma. But at the same point in time, that's thunder and lightning and a good band of heavy rain. Now, after this rolls through, and it'll dive from northwest down to southeast, really nothing on the backside of it. So quick hitter, not going to be an all-day affair. It'll take us from about 7, 8 o'clock when it starts off to the northwest, all the way from Wednesday night into early Thursday morning before it dives off to the southeastern portion of I-44 right there. Shouldn't hamper our Thursday morning commute. But what we are looking at is the expansion of what we call the high category on the severe thunderstorm risk map, and that's going to include the possibility for some nighttime tornado activity. And earlier, this thing cut off just about in central Iowa. Now it's been expanded almost to the point where it hits the Nebraska, Missouri, Iowa state line. So that's what we'll keep our eyes on today to see if this even expands further down. Not going to affect us. We'll stay in the marginal area. Our greatest threat's going to be some high winds. Probably not even going to have any hail come of this. Gets a little bit cooler as it rolls through on Thursday and Friday, but still that's very manageable for this time of year.
Well, up next, a COVID-19 pill could change the game in the pandemic fight as a third of Americans remain unvaccinated. And later, what would you do if you had a duplicate you? I get so much done. That's just what a two-time Oscar winner explores in his latest movie. We'll have the details. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Toyotathon is on with places.
There's encouraging data on a new COVID-19 pill as the U.S. marks 1 year since the first person received a vaccine against the virus. More than a third of Americans remain unvaccinated. Skylar Henry reports from Washington.
I think it can be available this month.
1 year after its first COVID-19 vaccine shot was given in the U.S., drug maker Pfizer says its antiviral pill could soon be available in the fight against the virus.
Vaccines are needed. People need to prevent getting sick. They should not take chances that they may not get seriously sick because there is a pill that could treat them.
Appearing on CBS Mornings, Pfizer's CEO says the treatment is nearly 90% effective in reducing the risk of hospitalization or death in high-risk unvaccinated adults if taken within 3 days of the first COVID symptoms. Lab results also showed the drug worked against the Omicron variant, expected to dominate U.S. cases in the coming weeks. The U.S. is now averaging 120,000 new COVID cases a day. Nationwide, more than 800,000 Americans have died due to the virus since the pandemic began.
We're really trying to encourage people to get that boost to bolster their protection so that they're ready should they encounter the Omicron variant.
Congressional leaders held a moment of silence outside the Capitol Tuesday to honor those lost.
God bless America.
As COVID-19 cases continue to surge in the U.S., the latest CBS News poll finds nearly 1/3 of Americans who are vaccinated have no plans to get a booster shot, in spite of evidence that regular vaccinations are not enough to protect against the Omicron variant. Skyler Henry, CBS News, Washington.
More than 200 million Americans are now fully vaccinated, and more than 3/4 of the eligible population have received at least one dose. U.S. COVID-19 death toll has now topped 800,000. Well, new research shows the percentage of those infected with COVID-19 who are showing no symptoms may be as high as 40%. Study looked at nearly 30 million patients who were defined as asymptomatic or pre-symptomatic. When they tested, either they never developed symptoms or developed them later on. Researchers say the data makes it clear asymptomatic infections can lead to community spread. Women who live in rural areas get breast cancer screenings at about the same rate as urban women, but the same does not hold true for colorectal cancer. Researchers at the University of Virginia say the reasons may be a lack of access to colorectal screening in rural areas, income, and insurance. A new study shows if menus are at least 75% vegetarian, meat eaters are more likely to choose plant-based food. Researchers say if consumers are presented with more vegetarian options, they will make choices that are more healthy and environmentally beneficial. Not me. If you're a chef or a restaurateur, I like my meat, looking to set up shop in your own space, Las Vegas could be the perfect location for you. And that's because a Nevada real estate developer is offering to give away a diner, delicatessen, or a coffee shop in downtown Vegas for free. The developer, Dapper Companies, is holding a contest to decide who the lucky entrepreneur will be. To enter the contest, you must create a presentation describing your concept in detail. Qualified applicants will present their ideas and business plans to a panel of judges who will pick the 5 finalists. The finalists will then cook selections from their proposed menus. Judges from multiple Las Vegas eateries and restaurants will pick the winner. After that, the winner will work with the developer to build the property.
Hey, real estate, real estate, real estate.
Hey.
Can't beat it.
It's all about the food.
If anybody in the 4 states wants to jump on that, let us know how you do.
That's pretty cool.
And remember, Tanya and I will always come check out the food.
I'd be happy to.
In Vegas, absolutely. Live look over 7th and Rangeline, off to a warm Wednesday morning. 70 degrees already, and that wind, it is just whipping in from the south. Look at all the 70s that we're throwing up, whether it be Lamar, Carthage, Joplin. Chanute was there earlier. Now Welch in at 70 as well. It's just hard to believe that we're talking about the middle of December right now. It is a windy one, 24 miles per hour. Those are sustained winds. We've gusted as high as 33 miles per hour at Joplin Regional Airport. So that's why we've got the wind advisories indicated in tan. Those are high wind warnings for what we're seeing in the orangish color. Skywatch storm tracker, a little bit of an overcast start. Haven't seen a whole lot of holes where the clouds can, or the sunshine can peek through. Jet stream is going to play an important role because what we're looking at is a low pressure system that at one point in time was squarely over the Four Corners area right now. And then as we check out, remember, the more red, the lower it is. So this thing's moving to the northeast, and it's going to follow the old jet stream and eventually take off for this portion through Nebraska, Iowa, Minnesota, and Michigan. When we get to the severe thunderstorm risk map, you'll see how that mimics that same area right there. So that's going to be our key throughout Wednesday afternoon. For us here in the 4-state, it's going to be windy, but it's going to be warm all the way up into the mid-70s, once again threatening records, if not breaking them. And we're able to do so even with a little Gulf moisture that presents us with some light scattered rain for the early morning, early afternoon, late morning hours. Then we get our band. So there we go. Thunder, lightning, and heavy rain as it drops in from the northwest, takes us all the way from Wednesday night into Thursday morning. Our biggest threat is going to be additional wind gusts, as much as 50 miles per hour. What we are going to be able to avoid is this high risk category. That has the chance for some tornadic activity in that red right there, coming off of the tornadoes that we saw just last weekend through portions of northeast Arkansas and predominantly Kentucky. And this is it right here. That's that low pressure system. Once it moves through, you can tell we're on the far southwestern band of a little offshoot of that. And that's why, luckily, we're not higher up to the north. Once ours drops through, but then it's going to hit that same area where they're going through the tornado cleanup. It's going to be on them for pretty much all Thursday and even into Friday morning. While temperatures do cool down a little bit, still hard to beat that. That's well above normal for this time of year. Be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
It's beginning to look.
New study finds there may be a link between a hip-hop song about suicide and a drop in suicide. Logic, real name Sir Robert Bryson Hall, released the 1-800-273-8255 in 2017. Now the song's title, it's the phone number to the United States National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. According to the study, there was a 5.5% drop in suicides among 10 to 19-year-olds during the first month after the song was released, after a 2017 Video Music Awards performance, and after a 2018 Grammy Awards performance. In total, the study found there were nearly 10,000 more calls to the Lifeline during those periods. Logic says he recorded the song to help people. Study published by the BMJ, or British Medical Journal, authors note it only shows association, not a direct cause and effect. A two-time Oscar winner for Best Supporting Actor stepping into his first leading role, and actually doing so with 2 leading roles. David Daniel explains.
I can't lie to my family anymore.
The second you tell your wife that you are dying, your opportunity to do this is gone.
Swan Song stars Mahershala Ali as a terminally ill man considering secretly replacing himself with a duplicate.
So he has everything?
Even the memories you store deep in your subconscious. Do this with us and let life go on for your family. A clean swap.
Ali says he relished playing identical men with different motivations.
They want the same thing in that they want the family to be good. They want the family to be well, healthy, and happy and be able to move on. But how you go about that, they weren't necessarily seeing things the same way.
No, I don't like this.
You think I like this? Being told I'm not me because you're not me. You are not me!
You're always looking for that as an actor. You don't want to repeat anything, and you're always looking for the next challenge. The next challenge inherently comes with a bit of fear because you're not sure if you can climb that mountain.
Benjamin Cleary began writing the script after several friends passed away.
Through an imagined set of story facts, I could really go somewhere quite personal with it and really step into the character's shoes and then hope that the audience would ultimately be asking themselves the what if.
Can't figure out what the right thing is here. Thought I had more time, I guess.
In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Swan Song debuts Friday on Apple TV+. We'll be back with our 4-state hero right after this.
Forever Flowers, Arkansas, the 4-state's premier destination for home and holiday decor and all of your special celebrations. Custom designed.
It's time to honor today's 4-state hero, Shearer, a Nevada, Missouri native, a specialist in the U.S. Army. He served in 2009 during the war in Afghanistan. He's a part of the 203rd Engineer Battalion. Specialist Shearer, we thank you. Today's 4-state hero. There's a man in the Greenwood area of South Joplin who's taking time to clean up his neighborhood. His name is Larry Ross, but he goes by the Litter Getter. It started as a way to get some exercise and to get healthier. Our photojournalist Ty Parks caught up with him and has his story.
I woke up September 13th of this year in some I just couldn't breathe. And so I spent 2 trips to the emergency room and a couple of trips to some specialists, and decided to get out and walk. And the first day I couldn't walk to my mailbox. 5 days later I was walking to Shoal Creek and back from my house, which is a jaunt. And now it's nothing to walk 3 miles picking up trash. I was going from a walk and just glanced in the ditch and became totally disgusted with all the trash in my ditch on my road. And so I went to the Job and Special Road District and said, hey, can I get some bags or something? And they said, absolutely. I'm a lot healthier. I'm not looking for any glorification. What I want is to bring recognition to the problem of litter. Litter is everywhere. And if I could just get one individual to grab a trash bag from under the kitchen sink, go out in front of his house and pick it up, and that, I'd be happy. But I'd like to have 1,000.
Larry says he covers about a 12-mile stretch of road. He's also set out some trash cans along the road for people to throw their trash away. Good guy. Another half hour of news and weather is just ahead. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14, Spider-Man swings back into your friendly neighborhood with the highly anticipated Spider-Man No Way Home. And longtime customers and friends say their goodbyes to a familiar face. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. We'll be right back.
Want to know how? The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:30. Let's take a look at today's top stories. Newton County Prosecutor files murder charges against a man accused in a shooting death. The prosecutor charged Cameron Stotts with first-degree murder and armed criminal action. Investigators say Stotts shot and killed Alexis Guajardo Perez on November 9th. You can read more about the crime on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Woman and child who were trapped in a fire in a Fort Scott apartment building are safe after a rescue. The fire broke out Tuesday morning in a second-story unit at the Highland Apartments on Shepherd Street. Firefighters managed to get the woman and child out through a bedroom window. Crews evacuated the entire building and contained the fire to the one unit. No injuries were reported. Fire department tells us the Red Cross is helping people who were displaced. Crowder College in Neosho has a new president. On Tuesday, the college made the announcement on Facebook. Dr. Katricia Pearson will take on the role on January 13th. Dr. Pearson is currently the president of East Central University in Ada, Oklahoma. The current Crowder president, Dr. Glenn Colthorpe, will stay on as advisor until his retirement on June 30th. Oklahoma tribal leaders say Governor Kevin Stitt's decision to not renew hunting and fishing license compacts with the Cherokee and Choctaw Nations is part of an ongoing dispute. The tribes and the governor have been at odds over issues including a U.S. Supreme Court ruling regarding criminal jurisdiction and casino compacts. 2016 licensing compacts provided hunting and fishing licenses to the Cherokee and Choctaw Nations at little or no cost to the tribal citizens. A Stitt spokesperson said Stitt believes all Oklahomans should be treated equally. A Joplin organization that helps young people reestablish themselves has a new facility to better serve. Loving Grace cut the ribbon on that facility Tuesday. It's called the Doris House. It's a maternity home for young women ages 17 to 24 who are pregnant or parenting a child under the age of 1.
Well, it's kind of a dream of mine long ago. I always said if we could save one child, that's all it was worth. And so we've saved many. We have lost some. That's just the way that goes.
Loving Grace is at 1414 Euclid Avenue in Joplin. Well, it's been a good weekend for Megan Thee Stallion. The rapper received the 18th Congressional District of Texas Hero Award. Officials say Stallion played an important role in her community during the COVID-19 pandemic by providing gloves and masks throughout the district and to the Harris County Jail. The award comes one day after the Grammy winner graduated from Texas State University. She earned a Bachelor's of Science degree in Health Administration.
And that's something else. Honored for her work for helping COVID, and then she graduates in health administration.
That's cool.
I'll be darned. Our daily almanac for this December the 15th with a record high in Joplin of 74 degrees that dates back to 1984, and we've already hit 70. It's doing so once again with overcast skies. Over 7th and Range Line, look at that wind gust. Last one we had 31 miles per hour recorded at Joplin Regional Airport. A smattering of 70s. Chanut's back up there as well. Throw Carthage in at 70. Let's go 68 in Miami and in Fort Scott. 69 right now in Neosho and in Lamar. Wind is going to whip in from the south. We've seen a little sway to the south-southwest right there, so be very, very careful when traveling east-west, especially if you're in a high-profile vehicle, because wind advisories are now being located through southwest Missouri and northeast Oklahoma on top of that orangish color, which is a high wind warning. We had those yesterday throughout southeast Kansas as well. Give you an idea of the Skywatch storm tracker, yet to pick up any of our scattered rain that we'll see later this morning through the afternoon hours. Not going to really amount to anything. It's the thunderstorm activity that we're waiting on, and it's going to be the result of this low pressure system that's moved out of the Four Corners. There it is, indicated in the bright red. And it's simply going to follow the jet stream up here. We'll find ourselves on the far southern edge of the thunderstorms that will kind of dominate the upper central plains. Before we get there, highs around 74 degrees this afternoon, just absolutely ridiculous for being the middle of December. And then we can get into our thunderstorms for later tonight. There we are with the Gulf moisture that rolls through, some of that not even able to hit the ground. But by the time we get into about 6, 7 o'clock, that's where we see that band begin to form out to the northwest. And it's going to sink from northwest down to southeast with thunder, lightning, and we get some heavy rain every now and then as well, anywhere from 1 inch to 1.5 inches of accumulation. Dives off south of I-44 shouldn't affect tomorrow's commute. One thing that we are paying attention to is the expansion on the severe thunderstorm risk map, especially the red category. That indicates high chance for overnight tornadoes in the upper plains. We're in the marginal category. Our greatest threat is going to be some damaging wind gusts. Could see as much as 50 miles per hour. Cooler temps for Thursday and Friday, but still, that is unseasonably mild for this time of year. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
While large pizza chains are at a race to the bottom, Opie's...
This morning on the KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta poll, we're discussing gun violence as Tuesday marked the 9-year anniversary of the Sandy Hook massacre in Connecticut. 6 adults, 20 children with their lives taken that day, and an anniversary that comes as the country sees a marked rise in homicides. In fact, 9 cities have set homicide records this year alone. Our question to you that we put forth this morning is, what's the solution to gun violence? About 3/4 of you, 74%, say that it's tougher punishments. 19%, a distant second, say more background checks, but those 2 answers dominating the poll. Appreciate everybody's engagement. 2 ways to connect each and every morning: via our Facebook page, KOAM News Now, or if you'd like to go directly to the poll, KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Most anticipated movie of the year, Spider-Man No Way Home. Well, that swings into theaters this weekend. We caught up with the cast, who opened up about how their characters have evolved with Ashley Dvorkin.
How do you tell someone that you're Spider-Man?
Tom Holland is back as the web-slinging superhero in Spider-Man No Way Home.
These 3 films as a collective have been a coming-of-age story. I think this final film is the final chapter of Peter Parker becoming a man. I've just been thinking about how to fix all of this.
Taking place immediately after the events of the second film, Far From Home, Peter Parker turns to Doctor Strange for help after his secret identity is revealed to the world. But the encounter turns the world upside down and forces Peter to discover what it truly means to be Spider-Man.
He is having to deal with a world and life of fame, but unfortunately, different to us, his life of fame is that everyone thinks that he's a mass murderer. So he's having to navigate that.
Zendaya and Jacob Batalon's characters, MJ and Ned, also go through their own evolution.
As we've gotten to know MJ, she's always had this really tough exterior and this shell that she puts up to the world to protect herself. And I think now that she's found people that really care about her and who she feels she can trust, she can let that wall down.
I think he, from the beginning, has always wanted to be part of the action, and now he really gets to be. He will have more of an impact than he realizes. Yeah.
Marissa Tomei, who returns as Aunt May, says fans won't be disappointed.
I'm so excited for them to see the film. I think there's going to be one thing after another that's just really a surprise. I don't even know all the surprises myself.
Hello, Peter.
The popular neighborhood hero swings into theaters Friday. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
Our morning business report right after this.
Fox 14.
Some Americans anticipate higher electricity bills may make the holiday season darker this year. Fox Business Network's David Asman has the story and more in today's Fox Means Business report.
Another big part of our economy, wholesale prices, which is what producers pay before they sell to consumers. They surged 9.6% in November from the same time a year ago. That is the fastest pace on record dating back to 2010. Well, investors not liking the wholesale inflation news. The Dow, S&P 500, and NASDAQ all closed lower for the second day in a row. There's also concern the Federal Reserve could start tapering economic stimulus and raise interest rates soon. And rising prices are making the holiday season a little dimmer. More than a third of Americans surveyed by the company Value Penguin say they anticipate higher electricity bills over the holidays, and therefore they plan to use Christmas lights less often. And finally, there is some good news for the job seekers as we approach 2022. American Airlines will reportedly announce plans to hire 18,000 people next year as it prepares for a travel rebound. That's good news. And that's business. I'm David Asman.
Well, drivers across the country are starting to breathe a little easier. Gas prices nationwide have dropped for the fifth week in a row, just ahead of a busy travel week. Prices at the pump fell just over 2 cents per gallon from last week, and it's down 9 cents from last month. While prices are higher than last year, experts say falling cost for a barrel of crude oil will help consumers nationwide. Experts also point to reduced driving due to the spread of the Omicron variant as a catalyst for these changes. More companies are delaying return to office plans. Morgan Stanley is reassessing its aggressive back-to-office policy, with CEO James Gorman saying COVID will likely be an issue through most of next year. Asset management firm Fidelity Investments says it is pausing some voluntary return-to-office plans. Boston-based company says COVID hospitalizations in Massachusetts have jumped by 58% in 2 weeks. Wall Street investment bank Jefferies has already sent staff home and canceled client parties. In the UK, major investment banks are advising most staff to work from home as the government imposes tighter restrictions. Although many banks, including JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, and the Dutch Bank, say their offices will remain open. Two Wall Street banks want to increase bonuses for investment bankers. Goldman Sachs may boost its bonus pool for investment banking by about 50%. JP Morgan Chase could deliver a 40% increase. The two Wall Street titans have dominated this year's deal making. M&A and underwriting groups have seen an impressive revenue, and the banks are expected to open their wallets to keep their workers happy. Analysts say Wall Street bosses are under mounting pressure. They're under mounting pressure to be more generous, with signs pointing to another robust year ahead, and workers feeling they're owed and ready to jump to competitors if their employers skimp on the bonus. But that is changing this year. Courtney Keeley explains.
Sean Willis and his family are leaving town early for the holidays and making up for lost time. Last year, they didn't travel because of the pandemic.
So how many family members are you going to be seeing?
A lot.
He's well aware the trip comes as COVID cases are rising.
Of course, there's a little bit of concern here or there. Everybody's masked up, vaccinated up, so outside of that, I think we're comfortable.
Whether by plane, train, or automobile, AAA predicts 109 million people will travel during the holidays, 28 million more than last year.
This holiday travel season is going to feel like a pre-pandemic travel season.
Andy Gross from AAA says airline travel is expected to see a 184% increase over last year.
So there will be lines at the airport. So our advice is get there early.
Along with longer lines, vacationers can expect higher prices this year. Ticket prices during Christmas week are 5% higher than last year. Rates at mid-range hotels are up 36%, and rental cars are costing 20% more.
Everything is just going to be a little more expensive this year. The one area where prices have been sliding recently is gasoline.
The national average for a gallon of regular unleaded has dropped 9 cents in the past month. Drivers may be getting a break at the pump, but there is expected to be plenty of traffic. AAA predicts 100 million Americans will hit the road for the holidays. Courtney Keeley, CBS News, New York.
We'll be right back with more after this, but first let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell.
I used to need my very own Christmas.
After 42 years, a woman in California has poured her last pot of coffee at a waffle shop. Rob Roth was there as longtime customers and friends said their goodbyes.
Here at Oli's Waffle Shop in Alameda, longtime server Dolores Jean-Pierre says she always wanted her customers to feel special. On Tuesday, many of those customers did the same for her. After 42 years, Jean-Pierre is putting down the coffee pot and heading into retirement.
I cried last night and I cried this morning already.
It's not often a server at a waffle shop has such a heartfelt send-off.
They know I always spoil them. Everybody, they coffee. I just stayed on top of things and I just treated them the way I wanted to be treated.
In other words, she treated them as friends or family. News of her pending departure drew hundreds of comments from customers on social media.
She always came over, she came and talked to me, always asked how I'm doing, and very friendly.
Thank you, Wild Thing.
You're welcome.
We kind of had this running joke where I called her Wild Thing.
That was our nickname each other, and say good morning, Wild Thing, and it's just it's fun.
And we just developed this nice relationship over the years.
Jean-Pierre began at Oli's in 1978 at the age of 26. She moved to the Bay Area from Louisiana. She also had a parallel career owning her own bail bonds business. Her heart was here, though. She says she always did okay on tips. Well, better than okay.
She knew every customer name. Every customer, I don't care how long they've been gone away from Oli's, they walk in the door, she know everybody by name.
Jean-Pierre has possibly poured enough coffee to fill a reservoir or two. Now she says she plans to relax, spend time with her family, and think about the family she forged at Oli's.
I put a lot of miles on these floors. It's not just taking their order, putting their food down. It's kind of personal with me, with all my customers. I miss it, yeah.
In Alameda, Rob Roth.
My goodness, the stories that she must have. I bet she could write one heck of a book. See a little peak of sunshine every now and then. Not the case over 7th and Rangeline. Mostly cloudy skies. Last wind gust recorded at Joplin Regional Airport coming in at 31 miles per hour. Miami and Grove have now joined the 70-degree club, along with Chanute, Joplin, and Carthage. It has been a very warm Wednesday morning, and it has been a very windy Wednesday morning. We're up to 25 miles per hour right now in Chanute, so no surprise, wind advisories indicated in tan, and then the orangish color being a high wind warning. And they span just about everywhere. There gives you an idea of the cloud cover that we do have. Haven't picked up any precipitation, anticipating late morning light rain into the afternoon and awaiting the thunderstorm activity too. There's our low pressure system. It's made its way from the Four Corners all the way just about through portions of western Nebraska right now. So it's moving. It's moving at a good clip. Our afternoon planner before the thunderstorms arrive, going to make it up into the mid-70s, and then overnight temperatures, there we go, we're going to drop after it rolls through. Top left-hand portion of your screen is where it will begin to formulate. That's the light rain that we were talking about, but here comes a good one. Say about 6, 7 o'clock, formulates out to the northwest. Going to be a northwest to southeast track. Heavy rain, thunder, and lightning with it. As it bebops down to the south of I-44, should be done with it by about 5 a.m. tomorrow, at least the heaviest rain. And what we're looking at as far as a severe thunderstorm risk map, we're in that marginal category. Still got a chance for some damaging wind gusts, much as 50 miles per hour. And then as you move up to the north into the Great Central Plains right there, that high risk category, they've got a chance for overnight tornadoes as well. 7-day forecast with that cool down coming there for Thursday and Friday, but still can't complain about high 50s, low 60s for December. We'll be back, wrap up this edition of the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Here's what's happening today. A candlelight vigil is held for victims of the deadly tornado swarm that struck 6 states on Friday. Search for survivors will resume this morning in Kentucky, where dozens of people remain unaccounted for. President Biden is expected to travel to the state today to get a first-hand look at the destruction and meet with first responders. COVID-19 has now claimed over 800,000 lives in the U.S. Last night, members of Congress held a moment of silence to honor the lives lost. The U.S. is currently averaging 120,000 new COVID cases per day. And a federal judge has rejected former President Trump's bid to stop Congress from seeing his tax returns. The dispute dates back to 2019 when Democrats on the House Ways and Means Committee requested the documents, and President Trump refused. The former president's attorneys have 2 weeks to appeal the decision. Let's check in with Michael with a final look at your forecast.
One final look at the 7-day forecast. Once again, we're going to be up into the mid-70s. We're already throwing 70s up there right now. Wind advisories lasting the entire day, and finally some thunderstorm activity. Begins about 6, 7 o'clock in the far northwestern section of the 4 states. Runs us past midnight into early Thursday morning with a fair amount of thunder and lightning to go along with it.
Well, Jamala, Kumani, and Malaki, the lion triplets born in a zoo in Germany, explored their outdoor enclosure on Tuesday morning for the first time. Oh, how cute. Cubs played under the watchful eyes of their mother, Fiona, who was brought to the zoo 2 years ago from a zoo in Sweden, along with her sister. The 3 female lion cubs were born in early October. Their father, Bantu, has been separated from the rest of the family and, like visitors, can only see his offspring through a pane of glass for now. The triplets weigh about 19 pounds and are starting to eat meat. That's according to the zoo.
I wonder how much it takes to feed triplets. My goodness.
More and more every day. Yeah.
I thank you all for letting us put the good in your morning. We'll be back with more news and weather when we see you at noon.
Have a great morning and an even better day.